Hi, my name is Dr. Heather Williver-Farr, and I am the Special Collections Librarian here at Conway Library. Today, I wanted to share with you the benefits of sharing your research in an open access platform that LaSalle has for its students, faculty, and staff called the Digital Commons. And I wanted to give you a little demo of the Digital Commons and share with you instructions on how to upload your dissertation or other research output to the Digital Commons. So sharing your research on the web benefits you. For example, making your dissertation available on the web means that future employers can access your original research. But sharing your research on the web in an open access platform like the Digital Commons means that other students can benefit from your research, as well as scholars and healthcare practitioners across the world. I wanted to briefly go over a sort of traditional fee-based publishing versus open access publishing. Fee-based publishing includes fee-based scholarly publications such as the Journal of Pediatric Surgical Nursing, an article database, which Connolly Library pays for hundreds of these databases, or maybe even a book. And these fee-based approaches have been the traditional means of publishing one's research. Scholarly journals that are fee-based tend to have a rigorous peer review process in place. So you submit your paper or article to the journal, and then it's rigorously reviewed by experts. And if it passes muster, it may be selected for publication. Now, this is one of the things that sort of fee-based scholarly journals are applauded for, is that rigorous peer review. People reading those journals feel that the content in the journal is more trustworthy because of that rigorous peer review process. The one big hitch, though, with this method of publishing is it costs money, sometimes a hefty amount of money to either access even individual articles in some of these journals can be quite pricey, or if it's a book, it can be quite pricey. I'm sure that you all have bought textbooks for your courses that were very expensive. And because the price of accessing these publications can be costly, it means that many in the world do not have the means to pay for those publications. With the advent of the World Wide Web, you see the emergence of open access publishing platforms. And many of these platforms feature original research with no access fees attached. Some of these platforms do have a peer review process in place, and others do not. Now, I don't want to suggest that this is or proposition. You can only pick fee-based platforms or open access platforms. In fact, many fee-based journals now are allowing authors to share their preprint articles on open access platforms. So you can often negotiate that with the journal, that you want a sort of preprint version of the paper or article to be in an open access platform. So I mentioned earlier that we have an open access platform that's available to all of our students, both undergrad and graduate, our faculty and our staff as well. This platform provides access to scholarly works to everyone in the LaSalle community and beyond. And it can handle all manner of formats, such as Word, PDF, PowerPoint, image files, even audio-visual and video files. And it also provides statistics on views and downloads. And I'm going to show you that feature later in this presentation. Now, what are the benefits of open access? Well, one, it makes research available to those outside of academia, because many of those in academia can access these fee-based publishing platforms. And as I mentioned, employers can certainly access your original research this way, as well as those who are simply not able to access scholarly journals themselves. It allows other LaSalle students to view the work of graduates in their program. And it helps practitioners, and in this case, healthcare practitioners, especially those working in developing nations where they may not have the funds to access expensive journals like the Journal of American Medical Association, for example, and they can access essential scholarship in their fields through these open access platforms. Patients can also read up-to-date research that is relevant to their health if one shares your research through the an open access platform. And I just wanted to share this about Ebola. This is from an op-ed piece in the New York Times. I'll just give you a minute to read it. It's excerpts from this op-ed. And I think this op-ed is just one example of how open access research can be so critical. And when there isn't open access research papers available, the result it can have or the impact that it can have. So last year, so the Ebola outbreak in West Africa in 2013 is just one example of this sort of real world implications of restricted access to research. A recent New York Times, well, it wasn't that research, it was in 2015 article blamed the lack of preparedness for the Ebola outbreak in part on the lack of access to peer-reviewed scholarship in Liberia. So you can see that this has real world impact when we don't share our research in open access platforms. So I'm going to go back now to talking about the digital commons. I hope that I have convinced you of the merits of submitting your research through an open access or sharing your research through an open access platform. And we have this great platform called the Digital Commons. This is the homepage of the Digital Commons. And I'm going to show you later in a live demo the dashboard that will be available to you so that you can see statistics around the downloading and viewing of the material that you have uploaded to the Digital Commons. But you can also see other people, statistics on other people's papers and other kinds of research output that have been uploaded to the Digital Commons as well as your own. So what's in the Digital Commons? It varies greatly. Student work, so undergrad honors papers, for example, faculty research, conference presentations. I know, for example, I did an Explorer Cafe and my presentation is in the Digital Commons. It can include many different kind of formats from video, AV files, PowerPoints, documents of all sorts, images, etc. There's publications from the university archives. So LaSalle publications that have been digitized are included, as well as digital exhibits and other kinds of material that has been digitized from special collections. I did a top 10 most popular papers. I'm sure if you went in tomorrow, this might have changed slightly, but at the time of me creating this presentation, this was the top 10. And I wanted to point out that 4 of the papers in the top 10 are in fact student papers. I just wanted to show you a specific paper. It is an undergrad paper, but it is healthcare related. And this paper was submitted in 2018. And it's already had 529 downloads in just a few years that it has been in the Digital Commons. So now I'm going to take you to the Connolly homepage and kind of walk you through how to get to the Digital Commons, how to upload material to the Digital Commons, and also just to give you a general feel of the kind of statistics that the Digital Commons collects regarding access to anything that you've uploaded to the site. So if you go to the Connolly homepage, you can reach the Digital Commons by clicking on the Collections tab here at the top of the homepage, and then you'll see Digital Commons. Now, you're going to need to create an account for yourself in the Digital Commons if you have not already done so. And if you have done so, you do not, you can skip this, skip that and just go to My Account. So even if you don't have an account with the Digital Commons, still click My Account. And it will take you to a different dialog box that will ask you to create your own account. I already have an account, so I'm going to simply say that I am not a robot. And I hate to tell you, but you might have to do these kinds of things to convince the system that you are indeed not a robot. Okay, this takes me to my own account page. Now I'm going to take you, and you'll be able to fill out various information in your profile about yourself. I'm going to take you to the home page for the Digital Commons again. And as you can see on the home page, there's information about all of the papers that are in the Digital Commons, the amount of downloads in total for all of those papers. And you can see where in the world those downloads have occurred from. You can look at the discipline wheel, so it explores 443 disciplines that are represented within the Digital Commons. You can do the top 10 downloads, you can look at the most recent editions, and it also features a paper of the day each day. You can browse through the scholarship by hitting research, scholarship, or history. The research and scholarship, how those are divided up is not always obvious, but in many cases, the research is faculty publications and the scholarship is grad and undergrad publications. But it's not as clear cut as that, so you might find some faculty research in the scholarship section. But you can also search the repository using keywords over here. As you can see, I've done a lot of searching. It does remember the keywords that you put in the past. For me to submit my own dissertation, if I were to do so, I would go down to this area on the left-hand side called Author's Corner and hit Submit Research. I then need to scroll down to find, and you'll see there's research, and then there's scholarship, and under scholarship, you will see DNP scholarly projects. Click on that. Now you can also copy this URL and simply put that into your browser. It will, if you're not already logged into Digital Commons, you will get the dialog box popped up that says, put in your username and password, and then it will take you directly here. So you don't have to go to the home page and find DNP scholarly projects. Once you get to this page, you can contact me if you have any questions, concerns, etc. about submitting your paper through the Digital Commons. You can put the subject here, put your comment question here, and send it to me. But in order for you to submit your paper, like let's say you're ready to do it, go down here again to the Author's Corner and hit Submit Research. This will take you to basically a form in which you're going to fill out metadata about your dissertation or your thesis. So there are certain required fields. For example, the title field is required. It will auto-populate the author, the first author with your name. And you can add additional authors as well here. The date of award would be when you have either been already awarded your doctorate, or if you're pursuing another graduate degree. But you can also include in here the expected date of the award of you getting your degree. So maybe I'm expecting it to get it spring 2020. 2022. This is required. You can always go back and change the date of the award of you getting the degree later. If, for example, it ends up that you weren't able to complete your doctoral degree in the spring, but you end up doing a 2022, but maybe it's the spring of 2023. You can go in and change that. This is a little bit of a misnomer. It says degree type. Really what we're asking here, is it sort of like a master's level thesis or some other thesis paper, not your dissertation, or is it your dissertation? So I know when I was getting my doctorate, I did have a master's thesis as well as a dissertation, so I could have included that in here as well. You could also maybe have done some original research in another one of your courses, and that could also be uploaded here, and I would just pick thesis for that. Even though it's not a master's thesis, it's still original research. So you could pick the thesis for just, a course paper that you wrote that has original research in it. So your degree name, if in this case, just leave it as none right now. The drop-down menu does not include a nursing doctorate on here yet. And so we are working on fixing that. So just leave it as none for right now. You can add a department if you would like. Again, these are all optional. While the advisor is optional, I think it'd be great if you did include your advisor, if there is one. I know there will be one for the dissertation. So it would be helpful for you to include that. You can also include up to 6 keywords here. Just type them in. Etc. Make sure, again, to separate them by commas, otherwise they will be considered all one big phrase. You can select a subject here. I've already selected nursing for all of these DMP scholarly, the scholarly section on Digital Commons, so it will have nursing there already. Now the abstract, it says that it's optional, but it really isn't optional. It's really important that you include the abstract. This will be part of the full text searching that will be going on if somebody inputs a keyword into the search box for the Digital Commons. And it's important for you to have the abstract that will be mined by the search tool, the search engine. So it'd be really awesome if you included a short abstract. I encourage you to write it in Word or some other word processing program, and then copy and paste it in. You can add additional comments here if you'd like. Now, to upload your dissertation or other paper, you can upload it directly from your computer. You can do it from a remote site, so like Google Drive. And you can also link out to a file on a remote site. I don't recommend that method. It usually creates issues. It's probably the easiest to upload it locally from your own desktop, laptop, but you can use, as I said, some sort of cloud storage site to upload it from there. I'm going to upload it from my computer. You'll see here you have to choose the file. I'm going to choose this presentation. If I want to add some additional files, so let's say I have a high resolution graph that I want to include, or a series of graphs that I want to include with my dissertation or my original research paper. Then I would click right here, additional files. I then hit submit. Now you can see, because I picked additional files, I get this particular screen, and I can go ahead and choose additional files to add. So Maybe I'm going to include an image, and it's helpful to include a description. So I'm going to say this is a helpful visual. Please, once you do this, once you've added the additional file, and you can do more than one file here. You can keep on adding, but make sure you hit this save button. Okay, and now it's processed, right? Now it's been saved. I can choose another file and do it again. Again, save it again. Make sure you do save every time you add an additional file. Then press the continue button down here. Okay, and I have now submitted my paper, the best dissertation, and you can see the metadata. You can see that the dissertation itself, the document, and additional. Okay, so I have a couple things in the queue here. Also a paper apparently on diabetes in older adults that I also have pending. Now, that publishing queue, what does that mean? So these things don't, they get automatically uploaded once you go through this process, but they don't get published to the web until myself or another one of the Digital Commons administrators here at Connolly approve the submission to be online, to be actually visible to the public. And that's just to make sure that somebody doesn't just like create an account and put something up there that's bogus. So once we approve it, it will be out there on the web. If down the line you want to make some changes, so let's say I've submitted all of this, and 2 weeks later I'm like, oh, I really want to add this other illustration, or maybe it's a bar graph to my submission. I'm going to go back into, sorry, it's been very picky today about not wanting me to be a robot. I have to log back into the system because it's always good to log out when you're done. And so I'm going to go back in there, and I'm going to see on my sort of profile page, the submissions, my submissions. So here I have my best dissertation, which I just recently submitted. If I go up here in the left-hand side, you'll see revised thesis dissertation. I click that, and then I'm basically back to the metadata screen, if you will, that I input all that information about my dissertation or my thesis paper. And I can go in here and now make changes. So maybe I want to add an advisor, and I want to add a comment. Maybe I want to add an additional file. I can do that too here, and then I'm going to submit it. So now I'm going to, because I decided that I wanted to add something additional here, I'm going to basically go through the same exact process as I did in submitting it, save it. Make sure you press that save. And then I'm going to hit that continue button. You will see that the changes that I made to the information or the metadata about my dissertation has now been included here. So that is a way to update it. And you can actually also, if you want to change your dissertation, like maybe there was something you needed to edit in it and you want to resubmit that, you can do that through this process. Get rid of the other one and upload a new one. All of that can be done through that revise dissertation thesis option. So now I just want to briefly go over some of the cool things that you can do once you have your own account. So if I go into my own account here, I mentioned earlier, I did an Explorer Cafe, and here it is. So I can go into my Explorer Cafe. And I can see the number of downloads, not that many, 13, but hey. This is Miranda Clark Binder, who used to be at the Art Museum here. We did a co-presented to that Explorer Cafe. I can also look at, in that My Account area, I actually have something called under Dashboard Tools called Author Dashboard. And this gives me even more detail about, for example, this is my Explorer Cafe presentation. It gives me even more information, more granular information about access, who's been accessing it. So I'm surprised to see that somewhere in India, somebody's downloaded my presentation, or Miranda and I's presentation. Someone on the West Coast of the United States did as well. So that's sort of exciting. And it gives me information about when, downloads, when they were downloaded, people just going to that main page and didn't actually download in this case, the presentation itself, but went to that landing page and may have looked at the metadata. So this is great. So once you have an account, you have this dashboard, this author dashboard at your disposal. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I want to thank you all for listening. And if you have any questions at all, please contact me. I have also shared written instructions for how to submit your dissertation or other thesis papers to Digital Commons, to your professors. And so you can access this information in a written form as well. And in those instructions, there is the URLs that you, for the Digital Commons, for the DNP scholarly section of the Digital Commons, as well as my email address. Thanks and take care.